That's how I would view it, John. Now, you're sort of getting into segmentation, which a lot of people in our community have heard. Ever since I've been in Charlottesville, that has been the Meadow Creek Parkway. From Dunlora to the rescue squad, that has been one road, the Meadow Creek Parkway.
Now, excuse me, now you're saying from Rio Road to Route 250?
Yes, right at K-Tech and Dunlora, where the county has their portion, right into the portion that will end at the rescue squad at the 250 bypass. That has been the Meadow Creek Parkway. Now, you mentioned 4F and the federal portion of this thing, how the federal bureaucracy got involved. Once the builders of the roadway ran into trouble locally, when the citizens said they didn't want the road, they hit upon this scheme to segment the road, and federal money became involved, and that's one of the key issues that we are discussing and have been discussing. To protect parkland in a city, that's why those federal restrictions were put in there, and that's one of my advocacy points is we should have an opportunity to view this parkway project as everybody knows it to be, and that is one road. And the federal restrictions should be part of that discussion as well.
Right, and I believe that it has to do with the National Environmental Policy Act, which says that you cannot segment a project in order to evade environmental standards.
Right. And that's how you get the protection of the local assets that a city or a county has for that reason.
To answer your question a little more directly as well, you mentioned, well, there's 775 feet of this federal project, this interchange, that are going to be extending into the park, and how can they discount that? Well, one of the answers is, remember I told you that for the purposes of this study, they're actually assuming that the parkway has already been built without an interchange. So when they study the interchange, they say, well, how much damage is it going to cause to the park? And they say, well, the Meadow Creek Parkway, we're assuming, has already been built, so the part of the interchange that will extend into the park doesn't cause much damage because that damage has already been done. So that's one of the effects of what I call this big lie, that Charlottesville agreed to the parkway without an interchange. Also, they use that same falsehood to skew the need for the interchange, because they say, well, do we need this federal project here at 250? And they say, well, we've already built this Meadow Creek Parkway, and it's already dumping a lot of traffic onto 250, so yes, we need this federally funded interchange. And then it also skews the feasible alternative study, because they say, well, what else can we do if this road has already been built and is dumping traffic onto 250? These other approaches aren't going to work. Clearly, we can't move the interchange or make it smaller because now we have this Meadow Creek Parkway here.
Good. Now, at this point, we're at a stage where there are one part of the project between Rio Road and Melbourne Road is already under construction. The Virginia Department of Transportation is waiting to get a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers to build the section of the road called McIntire Road Extended in the park, but they haven't gotten that permit yet. And the interchange, the Federal Highway Administration, which is a federal organization, obviously, is waiting to get all of the approvals for the interchange itself, and so they're not ready to begin the construction on this yet.
Well, you know, John, a lot of people ask me around town what we can do about this. You know, isn't it a done deal? And you mentioned about the county portion being underway. The county did this sort of to force the city's hand, so the city would think they had no alternative, but we do have an alternative. And going back just a little bit, I'm a small businessman. I'm in construction, and roads are critical to my business. And to my way of thinking, if you build a road, you have to have a very good reason to build it. And not just in a park, but any road. In these days, It's different than it was 40 or 50 years ago, where you could just go in and condemn people's land and build a road wherever you wanted to. This is a different era that we're in, and the citizens have a voice in the road that they're proposing for McIntire Park. And I think that's very important. If the citizens, over the years, the citizens have opposed this, and for political reasons, it always seems to have to come back and have another life. But if the citizens will join this effort, I think we still have a very good chance of stopping this road through McIntire Park. And if I could just add something to that, we really, in a way, have a tremendous opportunity here, because the county has done some work from K-Tech to Melbourne Road. That work that they have done doesn't need to be wasted. We don't have to pay back any money for that work being done. That would be a tremendous gateway into the park itself from Greenbrier, from Rio Road, from Dunlora, and that would sort of give us an opportunity to realize a dream that our city has had for over 20 years. And that's to make Charlottesville a more pedestrian-friendly place, a more bicycle-friendly place. It would be a great idea to open up McIntire Park by having people come through the park to work. So it's a situation where I don't like a road going through, but the work that has been done so far, to me, would have a value.
If we were to turn it into a bike lane or something like that, you're saying.
So you're saying that what we should do is we should have a bike lane that would make it possible for people to go from Rio Road, near where we are now at K-Tech, and bicycle or walk, or maybe skateboard, all the way south past Melbourne Road, which is the road that leads to Charlottesville High School, and then there'd be a bike trail going through McIntire Park.
Right, through the creek probably. I mean, right adjacent to that creek.
Adjacent to Shank's Branch.
Right, heading toward the rescue squad.
And then come right down. So you could actually, from Albemarle County around Rio Road, or maybe from Penn Park, you'd be able to bicycle safely on trails from there all the way south to downtown Charlottesville.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be a dream we've had for many years. People could go to work that way, to and from work. It would open up the park for more people to enjoy. So that's how I sort of view what has been built so far. They do not have to blacktop that road.
And then you could travel that distance without being right next to the danger, air pollution, and noise of cars as well. I think that would be a tremendous boon for our community.